If you don't, it's very important to go through all your credit reports and list everything that you own, because if you don't list it on the schedule, then the debt won't be discharged. You turn now to page 75. This is Schedule G, which is your executory contracts and leases. If you live in an apartment complex, or if you have a lease out for a car, you have to list that information on this schedule. Also, if you have a contract for Verizon or T-Mobile or any other utility bill for a set term period, you also have to list those contracts on this schedule. We'll now go to page 76. This is Schedule H, where you would list any co-debtors. If you've co-signed for loans for anybody, you would list that information on this page. Or if someone's co-signed for a loan for you, for a house, or for a car, or for anything else, you'd also list that here. If you're married filing jointly, you would also list the information on your spouse, who would presumably have joint debts with you as well on this schedule. Now turn to page 77 first, which is Schedule I. Here's where you list all the information about your current income. It'll ask about your wages from employment, the deductions that you take from those wages, any income you may get from any kind of government assistance, any Social Security, any TANF, anything like that, you have to list on this schedule as forms of income. We'll now turn to page 78, which is Schedule J, which is your monthly expenses. Under this schedule, you list all the expenses that you have every month, any car insurance payments, any utility payments, how much you spend on food, how much you spend on home repairs, anything that you spend on a normal basis every month, you list on this schedule. We'll now turn to the Statement of Financial Affairs on page 79. The Statement of Financial Affairs is one of the documents that the trustee looks at very closely. On this statement, you have to include how much you've made, how much money you've bought through any form of income for the last 3 years. You have to include any bank accounts that you may have closed in the past year. You have to include any gifts that you may have made in the past year. You have to include any property that you might be holding for somebody else. So if a friend of yours said, "Can I store my couch in your garage?" that would have to go on the Statement of Financial Affairs. Basically, this document gives the trustee an insight as to what's been happening with all your finances in the past year or so he can decide if there's any recourse, if he can go through and reverse any transactions to try and get money to pay back your creditors. The final form we'll go over is on page 91, and this is your Statement of Intention. On this Statement of Intention, you want to list all the executory contracts and unexpired leases that you listed on Schedule G. And on the Statement of Intention, you're going to write down whether you intend to assume the lease or the contract, that is, whether or not you're going to continue paying it and continue having the same contract or lease afterwards, or if you're going to reject that lease, which means that you'll stop paying it and you'll give back whatever service that they were providing for you. You'll also list here any debts that you wish to reaffirm. So if you have a car loan or a loan on a major appliance that you wish to reaffirm, you'll also list that on the schedule, on the Statement of Intention, and you'll mark that you intend to reaffirm that debt. And that's it for form.